Hi, welcome to another video. So today, this video is specifically for the people or the folks who thinks they are very ambitious, but they are lazy. You're right. If you're ambitious but lazy, then this video is for you. You have a lot of ideas, but you have zero execution. You think you are working because you are always thinking. If you think you fall in any one of this category, then this video is for you, right? Now, where does this start from? This starts from the idea addiction, which says, so where does this start from? This starts from the idea addiction, where you constantly think of new ideas, you constantly generate new ideas, you turn ideas into plans, plans into strategies, strategies into action. No, that's where you fail. Plans turns into strategies, but strategy never turns into action. Execution never starts. You feel productive all the time though. Remember, you feel productive all the time, but nothing actually gets done. That's where the problem is. You don't have an execution problem, you have an idea addiction. You like to think of a lot of ideas, and those ideas doesn't even bore you. It actually intrigues you. You feel, oh, when I'll start thinking of the next big ideas, that's when I'm gonna do something big. I'm thinking of the next perfect idea that I want to execute. So you think of an idea. Let's say you want to do something today, right? Let's say you want to uh, start with some skill, as simple as uh, video editing skill, or you want to learn photography, or want to learn coding. Best example, coding, which is many people are doing across. Instead of going and directly shooting up the code editor and start writing code, you actually go through a lot of video tutorials on the next biggest shortcut, or what would be the most easiest way to get things done in 180 days, or in 3 months, or probably a 2-month plan. You think of all the shortcuts that you have seen online. Hey, if you do 150 questions, if you do 75 questions, you will be uh, getting a job at the big tech. You watch all different kind of videos, but none of it really matters until unless you actually start the execution, which is again, execution is king. You never really bother to start with the execution. You're too afraid to fail. That's one of the reasons, but we'll just come up to that on why that is the case, right? And second thing is you're searching for the perfection, right? You're waiting for the perfect idea, your perfect timing, perfect plan, as I mentioned. You're waiting for the confidence to build up. Hey, once I do this, this is when I want to get the confidence. But the issue with the confidence, my friend, is it comes with execution. The more you execute, the more your actions, your ideas turns into actions. That's when your brain registers, hey, I can do this. That's when you will be able to gain the confidence. Think about it. When is the last time you felt confident about pooping? Or when is the last time you felt confident about brushing your teeth or taking a bathe, right? It's pretty simple task, right? You just have to do it. That's it. Once you keep doing it, you become better at it. That's what one of the famous philosopher has also coined the term, but we'll not come to that topic in this video because it's just out of the scope, right? So think of it. How many ideas died because you were waiting for the perfect moment? You would have your journal in your phone filled with a lot of ideas, or you would have your phone or your notebook, your personal diary filled with a lot of thoughts, and none of it get turned to an idea, not turned to an execution or something practical, because you never really bother to execute it, because you think this is not perfect enough. You think there is a perfect day when you will do one fine day, you will everything will become perfect, and that's when I'm going to start doing it. If that was the case, then nobody would have started cooking in this world. Everyone would have starved to that. You do cook because it's a necessity, right? Or else you'll have to sleep without food that night, which is pretty sad, right? So you learn to cook some other thing that can fill your stomach and you sleep peacefully because it's essential life skill and it's essential for your survival. So think of it, this skill or any execution skill like the survival mode skills. Like, this is necessary to be done in order for me to see whether the idea works or not. It's necessary, the execution is really, really, really necessary for the idea to work. Only when you execute, that's when you know whether the idea will work or not. Pretty simple, right? But why thinking of a lot of ideas, overwhelming your thoughts with the what ifs, what ifs, what if this, what if that, what if I do that, and what if this happens? What if can I do something better about this? You like to stay in the loop of what ifs, which you think will lead you somewhere, but it won't. The only place it will lead you to is to write a thesis on what ifs, where your thesis will be based on your thoughts, your random thoughts, and random thoughts doesn't help, right? It has to be practical. In order for it to be practical, you have to execute it and see if it works. And why you like this? Because thinking is safe. It got no consequences. You have nothing to lose. You have no stakes on your poker table, right? Execution exposes your failure. It actually exposes it. Think about it. If you fail, oh, you think, oh, people will think bad about me, and what if I fail? What if I cannot do it? What if I will never do it? So on and so forth. Execution actually exposes your incompetence, that you are actually not good at it yet, which is fine. No one is good at anything on the first go, at least until unless you are really, really like Gukesh or Magnus Carlsen, where I believe so. Even they have uh, the places or the areas of life where they are not good at. They may be good in chess. Harvey Specter may be good in being good as a lawyer, but they sure as hell struggle in other parts of their life. So nobody's perfect. The point is, no one is perfect. Kevin Spacey did great in acting, but he had a pretty bad life personally, right? You can pick examples, a numerous amount of examples, where you can see that it holds true everywhere. You being perfect or you being excellent in one part of your life does not define you as a person. You may be flawed in some other ways, and everyone is flawed. You have to accept that fact that you are flawed, right? And these are some of the reasons why the brain prefer thinking, because thinking doesn't have any consequences. Your brain always want to stay in the survival mode. It doesn't want to do the work. Remember this. Your brain doesn't want to do any work because work will actually make you feel tired because it uses your energy and resources, right? So back then, when you were a caveman, you had to go for hunting. You were hunter gatherers, right? So you had to gather food and everything was based on survival, the necessary skills, right? But now, since that is gone, the DNA still register things in the same way. You do not want to waste your energy. That's why you see hibernation. Uh, the concept of hibernation exists in some of the animals, right? Where they do not want to waste the energy. That's why the body goes to hibernation, and that happens in the winter period where they are not able to find any food. But we are not living in the era where that is the case, right? But the instinct's still there. You just don't. Your brain doesn't want to work. It doesn't want to go and code. It doesn't want to go and record this video. It doesn't want to uh, do anything. It doesn't. It just want to stay on the couch and do nothing, absolutely nothing. If you feel the same way and you think it's just you, no, it's not you. Everyone feels the same. The people who are able to do it and the people who are not able to do it, there is only one difference, is the execution, right? You think you are too smart by thinking so many things, but you're not. Unfortunately, you are not. In fact, the average guy or the average person who doesn't think a lot and execute, they are able to do this much better because they focus on the execution. Even if they fail, they at least get to know what is the thing that doesn't work and where they can improvise. Think of it, if Instagram or Facebook would have thought that they would deploy the perfect app on the App Store and Play Store, then they would have never launched on the first place. And it would have never been bought by big giants. The company would have never been bought. It's only the iterations, several trials, that what matters the most, and that's what will lead you somewhere. At least you would know what not to try or how to improvise, right? So you love the possibilities. You like to fall in love with the possibilities. And the executors, on the other hand, fall in love with the reality. They know what is the actual reality, right? And here is the brutal truth. If thinking created success, then my friend, every overthinker on this planet would have been a millionaire. As wealth really defines the success, that's why the reference here. And every philosopher would have been rich. And turns out no philosopher is really rich, right? Have you opened the billionaires list? No philosopher was there. And every journal full of ideas, every single journal full of ideas would be a company. That's not the case. And because that's not how the world works, right? There's no, and unfortunately, there is also no magic switch where you stop thinking. Since you have this problem, your brain doesn't really know what is a switch button or what is an on and off button. And you cannot think your way out of overthinking. The only way to resolve this issue is action. Because with action, you will just know what works and what not. With action, you will know what thoughts are valid and what thoughts are not. And most of them are not. Because you just are having a mental, you are in a mental prison where you think these are the possibilities, but in reality, it may or may not work. In economics, we call it product market fit, right? Product is the executed idea, and market fit is whether it's practical or not. Think of it, right? If you don't get the clarity, always try to act upon it. You act and then you get the clarity on where you stand. It's very important to know where you stand. At least after a point, you should know, right? And now, another brutal reality is why others beat you. Because many successful people are not overthinkers, or neither they are very smart like you. They just pick a direction, they execute on it, they commit, and they finish. And then they step on to the next one. That's and repeat. That's how they go with it. And you, on the other hand, you just keep thinking of the next beautiful idea, the next great idea, and you keep that in loop. So smart overthinking like thinker like you are obsessed with idea quality, and the average executor like some other person who is successful are obsessed with the execution quality. The better the execution, the faster it is, the more chances of success he has or she has, right? And the issue with you is you are very, very, very super delusional about the ideas. Smart people like you are very delusional about the ideas. Executors are delusional about the action. They believe they will figure out while moving, right? Even if you don't know some things, keep the options to know it on the go. That's how you do it, or else you wouldn't be able to learn to drive, right? So one thing person is dreaming about the future and other one is actually building it. Think of it. And to be honest, failure is not really the end. Is this video is me talking to you is the end of the road? No. I'll probably be making several more version of it if I think I can do better. And I will only know it once I record this video, put it on the internet and see what are the views of yours, right? So what if it fails? So what? Life continues. You learn, you fail, you try again, right? Failure is really not the important point here. It shouldn't neither it should be the focus, right? And it's better to fail than to have those regrets, right? So stop looking for the perfect idea, pick one thought, work on it for the time period that you have allocated for it. Let reality judge it. I'm saying it again and again. Let the reality judge it, not your thoughts, not your brain. Because you think everything is perfect. No, you are just living in a bubble. You don't know it yet. So you just throw it out and see what is the reaction and see whether it works or not. If it works, well and good. If it doesn't, pick the next one. I hope it helps. Thank you.